Good morning, and welcome to day two of our conference. I hope that those of you who were with us yesterday had a fantastic day, and welcome to anybody who's just joining us for this day. I think there's still quite a lot to look forward to. I want to talk a little bit this morning about the work that we're doing within the BPS at the minute to change the organisation and deliver on the promise of becoming the home for UK psychology. It's going to be a big year for us as we enter the process of developing a new strategy for the next few years. You'll be hearing more about this over the next few months, and what we will do is that we will make sure that we consult with members at every stage and that the strategy that is being developed is truly co-produced. For those of you who came to Harrogate for our conference last year, you may remember that I spoke in my address about the need for the society to radically overhaul some of our systems, our processes, and ultimately our culture. Our board of trustees signed off on a significant investment into the change programme last summer, and I can tell you now a little bit about some of the big changes that we've already been able to make, as well as those coming along a little further down the line. Whilst much of the work on the infrastructure required for us to deliver the right service for you as members, and a lot of that is internal, we're also making changes that I hope you're beginning to experience. One example of this is professional development. That so many of you have chosen to join us for this virtual conference shows the appetite there is for high quality, accessible online opportunities for learning, for development and networking. Our Professional Development Centre has been working hard to provide CPD opportunities during the COVID-19 pandemic, and our new virtual learning platform was launched at the start of this month. So during the course of our member journey work, and member journey work I'll touch on later, but it's an ongoing project of collaboration and consultation with members. One consistent theme that's cropped up has been the desire for your professional body to offer better, more flexible CPD, and I hope that that will soon become a reality. Launching a new virtual learning platform is just one external example of the work that's going on, but I also want to see a fundamental shift in what we deliver in order to make sure that it aligns with what our member wants. The member journey project that I just mentioned is central to that alignment and probably consists of the most in-depth period of consultation, not just with current members, but past members and potential ones too, that the BPS has ever carried out. It's only going to be possible for us to become the home of psychology, excuse me, and a welcoming organisation from people from all areas of our discipline at any stage of their career, or even just with an interest in psychology, if we understand what psychologists want from their professional body and their home. We also know that the society must become more diverse and more representative of both the profession and the wider society. David Murphy's Diversity and Inclusion Task Force will be key to this, and it's something that we have heard consistently and clearly during our consultation with members. We have learnt that you want a professional body that is bolder and braver in its decision making, which represents your interests, which provides clear, useful advice on careers and professional development. You're also keen to see more collaboration between networks and different specialisms within the society coming together more regularly to solve problems and produce high quality resources. It's up to us to deliver on that vision. And with our new membership board guiding the membership work stream, the member journey work stream over the next few years. It's imperative that psychology has a strong and influential representative body, because psychological thought is going to become increasingly important as we grapple with some big questions that are central to us. The theme for this conference has been the psychology of the future, and we chose it because we wanted to show how central psychologists are to good policy making and to responding to society level issues over the next few decades. COVID-19 has seen some psychologists step up to the plate, whether by advising on how to slow the spread of the virus, using behavioural science, treating the mental health effects of a prolonged lockdown, or by supporting some of our most vulnerable people in care homes and with chronic illnesses. We were able to swiftly bring together a COVID-19 coordinating group as the pandemic hit these shores. and its expert members have since overseen the production of numerous resources to help people with the psychological aspects of this public health emergency. These resources show the diverse impact that psychologists can have on a crisis such as this. We've published material to help parents talk to their children honestly about coronavirus, guidance to help psychologists working in end-of-life care, as well as almost everything in between. This will not be the last public health emergency that hits, whether globally or in the UK, and it's vital to learn the lessons on what's happened over the last few months and how we can do things differently next time. I want to say thank you to everyone who's made this event both a possibility and a success through their hard work and ingenuity, despite being faced by lockdown. So thank you to our standing conference committee and the BPS staff who've worked on this event, as well as everyone who's contributed, whether by speaking, presenting, or just being a part of it. I also want to say thanks to David Murphy. His drive and leadership was crucial to the success of our COVID-19 coordinating group, and he's been a fantastic president of the BPS. I'm looking forward to working with Hazel over the next year and looking forward to her speaking about her priorities for the year ahead. Before I hand over to Hazel, I just want to say a few words about an important topic and something that was raised by a member yesterday who asked about the lack of BAME speakers and delegates at the conference. Indeed, I was challenged by a member of my own team who asked me if I thought the BPS was institutionally racist. My immediate reaction was to issue an emphatic denial and to try and explain that the lack of diversity is a function of the lack of diversity within the profession as a whole. That raises a troubling question for me. Surely it's the role of the BPS to speak up on behalf of the profession, and to just deny our own challenges with racism doesn't move us forward. So I took some time to reflect a little on my colleagues' questions, and I want to share those reflections with you this morning. It's interesting that as a profession, psychology is predominantly white and female, yet this is not reflected in the leadership position across the profession, which are disproportionately white and male. That in itself is probably not talked about enough. But when it comes to ethnicity, as an organisation, we definitely haven't talked enough, and we definitely haven't done enough. I recall meeting with some fantastic clinical psychology trainees in February this year, where a black trainee had the courage to speak up and say to me that they would not attend a BPS event because they felt unwelcome. That's not an organisation I want to be a part of. I reflect on the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on the BAME community. And as an Asian, I can say that it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. In fact, what surprises me is that people are surprised. I'm also old enough to remember the Macpherson inquiry in 1999 when the police force was accused of being institutionally racist. The report described institutional racism as a form of collective behaviour, a workplace culture supported by a structural status quo. That description makes me reflect on our own committees and working groups, our own governance structures, which seem to be built to aid the structural status quo. I also reflect on the fact that many of our members are angry, frustrated, feel their voice isn't heard, and they do not trust us. So if my colleague was to ask me again if we were institutionally racist, I think my answer would be that if it feels like we are, then we probably are. I think it's time to admit that we've been deaf to the pleas of our members, slow to address their concerns, ignored their issues, and have consistently failed to take action on this. In order to move forward and to be the truly representative organisation we want to be, then I think we do have to admit our mistakes. I do want to thank David Murphy for his work in establishing the Diversity and Inclusion Task Force, and I look forward to working with the new chair. We will do everything in our power to make sure that the task force doesn't run in isolation. It has to be an integral part of our day-to-day work. Addressing our historic lack of action around race and equality will take time, but there are a number of things that we can get on with doing, such as benchmarking ourselves against professional bodies, using the Psychologist magazine as a vehicle through which to explore our own professional history and biases. We were committing to run a survey that we promised to do with the clinical psychology trainees on BAME trainees' experience of racism. And I think we also have an opportunity as an organisation to embed and integrate issues around diversity and inclusion in all our day-to-day work by making this one of the central planks in our forthcoming strategy. I'm not saying this can be fixed overnight, it can't, but perhaps the most important first step is admitting that we haven't spoken up when we should have, and we haven't acted when we should have, especially when you, our members, told us that we needed to. For too long, we've been on the wrong side of this issue. If we really want to positively influence psychology, to be the diverse profession it needs to be, then we have to get our own house in order first.